You've probably heard it before. It takes 21 days to form a habit. But why 21 days? What's so special about this number? Why not 20 or 30? Let's get into it. Imagine you're trying to rewire your brain, like installing a new operating system. Whether you're breaking a bad habit, starting a new one, or simply trying to change your mindset, 21 days has become the go-to number in self-improvement circles. But is there any truth to it? And what does it take for your brain to actually adapt to something new? Let me tell you a story. The 21-day myth, where it all started. Back in the 1950s, Dr. Maxwell Maltz, a plastic surgeon, noticed something interesting about his patients. After surgery, whether it was a nose job or something more dramatic like an amputation, it took them about 21 days to get used to their new look or reality. This wasn't just about appearance, it was about identity. The face you see in the mirror every day is more than just features, it's you. Change that, and your brain needs time to catch up. Maltz observed this pattern so consistently that he started thinking, what if this applies to other areas of life? He wrote about it in his book Psycho-Cybernetics, and before long, the idea that it takes 21 days to change your life spread like wildfire. Now, here's the thing, Maltz never said it takes exactly 21 days. He said it takes a minimum of about 21 days. But as these things go, that nuance got lost along the way. What started as a general observation turned into a hard and fast rule in self-help culture. Face changes and the brain's adaptation. Okay, let's dig deeper. Why did Maltz's patients take around 21 days to adjust to their new faces? It's all about something called neuroplasticity. Your brain is like a moldable piece of clay, constantly reshaping itself to adapt to new experiences and environments. When someone undergoes a significant change, like plastic surgery, the brain needs time to reorganize itself, to match the new external reality with the internal self-image. Think of it as your brain running an update after you've installed a new app. It's not instant, but after a few weeks, everything syncs up and you're good to go. So why 21 days? It seems to be the sweet spot for the brain to start building those new neural pathways, where the new you starts to feel like the real you. But remember, it's not a magic number, just an average. Your brain might take longer, or it might adapt more quickly, depending on the change. Astronauts, space, and the 21-day adjustment. Now, let's take this to outer space, literally. Astronauts face a unique challenge when they leave Earth's gravity. Their brains have to adjust to a weightless environment where there's no up or down. This can lead to something called space adaptation syndrome, which is as disorienting as it sounds. But here's the wild part. After about 21 days, most astronauts adapt to this new reality. Their brains have rewired themselves to make sense of a world without gravity. Why 21 days? Again, it seems to be that magical time frame the brain needs to build new pathways and get comfortable with a completely different environment. Think of it like this. Imagine you've just moved to a new city. For the first few weeks, you're constantly getting lost. Everything feels unfamiliar, and you're not sure where anything is. But after a few weeks, about 21 days, you start to know your way around. Your brain has mapped out the new terrain, and suddenly, it feels like home. The real science of habit formation. So, let's talk habits. We've all heard it. It takes 21 days to form a habit. But is that really true? Here's where it gets interesting. A study by Dr. Philippa Lally at University College London found that it takes, on average, 66 days for a new habit to become automatic. But get this, the time it takes can range from as little as 18 days to as much as 254 days. So, where does the 21-day idea fit in? Well, 21 days might be long enough to start seeing some changes. It's like the first milestone. You're watering the seed, and maybe a sprout is starting to show. But for that habit to fully take root and become second nature, it usually takes a bit longer. Think of the 21-day mark as the point where you start to see the fruit of your efforts. But remember, the tree's still growing. Famous advocates and what they say. You're probably wondering, who else talks about this? Well, plenty of people. Tony Robbins, the king of motivation, often talks about the importance of consistency in creating change. He's mentioned the 21-day rule, not as a hard science, but as a guideline to keep you pushing through those first tough weeks. Stephen Covey, author of The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, emphasizes that habits are where knowledge, skill, and desire intersect. While he doesn't stick strictly to the 21-day rule, he's all about the power of repeated actions over time. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, dives deep into the science of habit formation. He challenges the 21-day rule, pointing out that true habit formation often takes longer. But he also acknowledges that 21 days is a great starting point, a manageable chunk of time to get the ball rolling. And let's not forget Charles Duhigg, author of The Power of Habit. He talks about the habit loop, cue, routine, reward, and how understanding this loop can help you change behaviors. Duhigg's work shows that habits are deeply ingrained, and while 21 days might get you started, real change comes from consistently reinforcing those habits over time. The science behind it all. Let's get back to the science. What's actually happening in your brain during these 21 days? It's all about repetition and neuroplasticity. Your brain is a network of neurons, constantly firing and wiring together. When you start a new habit, you're essentially training your brain to fire a new sequence of neurons. The more you repeat the behavior, the stronger that neural pathway becomes. It's like blazing a trail in the forest. The first time you walk the path, it's rough, full of obstacles. But the more you walk it, the clearer the path becomes until it's a well-trodden trail. That's what happens in your brain. After about 21 days, that trail is visible, but it might take longer to make it a superhighway. And here's the kicker. Your brain is always looking for shortcuts. Once a habit is formed, it's like your brain sets the cruise control, making it easier to stick with the behavior. But getting to that point, it's a mix of time, consistency, and reinforcement. Why 21 days? So, why does it take 21 days to reprogram your mind? Here's the deal. The number itself isn't as important as the process. Whether it's 21 days, 66 days, or even longer, the key is consistency. The 21-day rule is a useful framework, a psychological sweet spot that gives us hope and keeps us motivated. It's long enough to see progress, but not so long that it feels impossible. But remember, true change often takes longer. So, whatever change you're working on, stick with it. Whether it's day 21, day 66, or day 100, know that your brain is working hard behind the scenes, building new pathways, and getting you closer to where you want to be. Keep going, keep pushing, and trust in the process. Your brain's got this.